Okay, that just took 20 years. Gosh. I don't think I can put this down because I feel like it'll lose connection. What the heck? What the heck? Whoa. We're gonna move some things so that you guys can see me better, because I think my ring light might be a little too far away. What up, Sarah? I was like worried that nobody was gonna like join because I put a poll on the gram today and people were, I was like, I asked how many people would watch me on YouTube live today, and the first like 3 people said no. So I was like, is this even worth it? But I've been asked by people to do this, so I'm gonna try and do it more. Hello, I hope your name is Jay, right? That's what I would assume because that's your name on freaking YouTube. Hi guys. I don't do this very often, but I need to start committing to doing this because a lot of people like to do this way better. So, and I have people sending me snaps that I can't see right now because I'm living on my phone, which was dumb. I should have done it on my iPad or something. So anyways, today I'm going to be answering as many questions as I can for you guys. So yeah, I don't have any specific topics, I guess, that I'm wanting to talk about. And I just keep getting a lot of emails. MEPS and the ASVAB, if you don't mind. Yes, shoot with your questions. Like, I'm here to help you guys, so ask away. But yeah, I keep getting lots of questions in my email, a lot of questions on Instagram, and I do my best to respond, but work is like super busy, so it's a little difficult for me, but like I will get to you if you've messaged me on there. But yeah, I want to help as much as I can, and I think doing these lives on Sunday might be really beneficial. So go ahead and ask away with your questions. I'm gonna see if I can actually set my phone down, because before I couldn't set it down without it messing up the internet. I don't know why. Trying to make it good quality for the people who like watch this video later. Let's see if I can see. Jay, I don't know if you typed your question out. Oh, okay, yeah. I was like, I can't see the comments. Could you tell me the step-by-step process when you go and take your ASVAB at MEPS and what material is on the AR section? Okay, so the step-by-step process to going to MEPS, well, for me anyways, and I don't know if it's like this for everyone, but my recruiter actually came and picked me up and she took me to MEPS. And when I got there, it was like, you actually went the day before. So I went the day before I actually was supposed to like take my ASVAB and do everything at MEPS. And we stayed in a hotel that wasn't very far from there, because basically the MEPS in Kansas is, it's like right next to the airport in Kansas City, Kansas. So you stay in a hotel that's like right next to the airport, and then you wake up at like 3:30 in the morning, and then we went to MEPS, and like they had this area set up that you could eat breakfast, but I was so nervous. Like I had done RSP prior to doing this, so I was scared. Like I was scared that it was basically like a part of basic training. So I remember I like didn't eat breakfast. I didn't eat dinner the night before when we went, because I was under the impression of like they're gonna yell at me, or like what if I take my test and I don't pass, or like what if I don't even get to join, and I've told all these people that I'm joining the military and then I don't get to. So it was kind of nerve-wracking. But anyways, your day starts early AF, like 4:30 I think is when we were like standing in line, and they do like make you stand at Parade Rest, like they kind of treated it like basic training. And the crazy thing is that all the people at MEPS were like civilians. Like I don't remember anyone being in an actual Army uniform or anything. So after we stand in line for forever, you go through like the medical portion. Wait, no. I can't remember if medical or taking the test was, I don't know which one was first, but I remember doing like some paperwork and stuff like when I got there. And then we went on to take the ASVAB test. And I just remember we went in this room. And they sat us all at computers to take the test. And I just remember, like, I was not prepared. I just want you guys to know, like, I did not study. I didn't do anything. I didn't research any. The only thing that I really looked up online was the different MOSs. Hey, Star, I'm sorry I haven't answered your emails, but I'm hoping that I can answer some of your questions tonight. But anyways, going back to what I was saying, I didn't study for anything before I went to MEPS. I didn't even know that like studying was a thing. I just like when I joined, I just was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna join and help my parents so they don't have to pay for my college. So I just went in. I expected this test to be like 1 hour long. I'm not even kidding you guys. Like I thought this test was going to be that I go in, answer a few questions, and then they tell me, yeah, you're in, or no, you're not in. So when I sit down to take this test, I'm like probably 15 minutes in, I'm like, holy hell. Like I'm looking around like, why is this taking so long? Like, why are there so many questions? And then like an hour into it, I was like, is this a joke? Like I was so confused and I kept looking around and I felt like everybody else was super serious about it and I wasn't at all. And then I got annoyed at this one part of the test. This one part of the test was basically they would flash numbers on the screen like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you had to remember the numbers that they flashed on the screen. And then it would give you like 4 different options and you would have to pick which one was the numbers that you just saw on the screen. I would blink every time that shit would flash. Like every time it would flash, it was like I had the longest blink of life and couldn't see it. And then I got really angry and I was like, whatever, I'm too good for this. And I like stopped reading any of the questions. Like I did not read anything. I just started clicking and clicking through. And I'm gonna just tell you guys right now, my first ASVAB test that I took, I got a 41. Like a 41, which I don't even know how. I don't know. I don't know what I was doing. So my recruiter basically looked over my test scores while I was doing the medical portion. So for the medical part of MEPS, it was like, oh my God, like it was kind of brutal. So you walked in and they had like booths that you basically like had to take your clothes off and like you were in your bra and underwear. And I remember them telling us before we went to make sure we didn't wear anything like scandalous because you were going to be like naked in front of people, which for me, that was nothing because I'd been an athlete forever. Like I had been like taking butt ass naked showers in front of girls since I was in junior high. So that didn't bother me, but you come out of this little closet thing that you're changing in, and then they make you like do the duck walk, which if you guys don't know what that is, I guess like look it up. Actually, don't look that up on YouTube because there's probably stupid stuff. That's not even what it is. But they make you do the duck walk, and like while you're doing it, you have to like put your hands behind your head and you walk down and back, and the doctors just like stare at you. And basically what they're looking for is to see like if you were to have like scoliosis or like your knees and stuff. So I was paranoid about my knees because I have really bad knees. And when I bend down, they crack really loud. And same with my back. And I had been told that if they hear that, like, you can get told that you're not going to be able to join. So that kind of freaked me out, but they didn't say anything, and I wasn't the only person that's their knees popped and stuff. Like, everyone had their own little things. But this part that I'm about to tell you is like, I've been told by people that they never had to do this. And here recently, we had some like scandalous stuff come out for the state of stuff that doctors were doing that was like totally inappropriate. Like they found out that this flight doctor was like sodomizing people and stuff. So when I like think about this, I'm just like, I wonder if this is like was a thing. Like, I wonder if the doctor like got in trouble at any point for doing this. I don't even remember who the doctor was, and it wasn't that big of a deal for me. So anyways, basically what happened was they made us all stand in a line after they did the duck walk portion, and they made us, like, I remember we had to like bend over and like touch our like toes and stuff because they were checking us out while we were naked. And then they made you strip completely down with no like underwear or anything on. And I think they did a breast exam, which I was like, oh, I can understand why they do this. But the other thing that they did is like, they basically checked to make sure like that you were a girl. Like, the doctor was super chill about it. Like, they had like an extra person in there. Like, there was a female in there, but the doctor was a dude. And basically, he just like lifted up the sheet. Like, you had a sheet over you, and he just lifted up the sheet. He didn't even like make eye contact with me or anything. But he like touched your private part, like didn't like touch it, but he just like basically checked to make sure you didn't have a penis. So, Star, I'm not sure about like the butt thing. I didn't have the butt thing didn't happen to me, but I know they like touched the vajayjay to make sure you had a vajayjay and that it wasn't a penis. So when I tell people that's something I never talked about until recently. And when I tell other people in the guard that I had to do that, I've had a lot of people that are like, what in the hell are you talking about? Like, they never had to do it. So, I mean, I could see them not doing it, but now that there's been the whole controversy with the transgender situation, I don't know if that's a thing anymore, but I had to do that. And the doctor was respectful about it. So I'm lucky for that, because now that that stuff came out for the state, like, that's crazy. I can't even imagine. But anyways, I saw another question. Oh, the peanut butter shot. I didn't have to do the peanut butter shot ever. I've heard about it, but I've never had to do something like that. I don't think that they gave me any shots at MEPS that I remember. And if they did, it was not something like bad. Like, it wasn't anything bad. The worst shots that I've gotten were prior to going on deployment. So after they did the medical portion, I think that was Jeffrey that just, someone trying to cheat a UA. Oh yeah, Sarah. So the UA, they do make you do a UA there. And the UA was done before the doctors did the whole like private area check. But basically, so this UA, you guys, is this is the most extreme UA that you will ever do. And except for like when you're in AIT, you do pretty extreme ones. But the UA for the females, they're also going to check you for pregnancy. And they do this like right when you get there. So that way there's no shenanigans going on and you're not wasting people's time. But you legit, if you're a girl, you legit like stand. Like, you walk into this bathroom and there are no doors on the bathroom stalls at all. And you pull your pants down. They have to literally see the stream, which is how it is throughout forever in the military. That's how it's supposed to be. So you are like legit standing up. Like, there's no squatting. I remember I tried to like hover and they were like, no girl, you got to stand up. So you have to stand so they can see the stream. You catch your pee, You literally walk over to this little stand and they put the droppers in the pregnancy test like right there. So yeah, like that's basically the medical portion. So then once you're done with that, they do like a fingerprint situation. And I just remember like for some reason my hands have really bad fingerprint. They could not get my fingerprints on one of my hands. Like it took me a good 30 minutes for them to get it because they need like the full fingerprint, and they make you do all sorts of different angles with it. They have you do all that. And then after that was when I finally saw people in uniform, and I finally saw my recruiter again. And they were like, all right, you're good to go. Like, what did you want to do for a job? And I told them that I wanted to be an MP. They did their little computer work and were like, oh, we don't have any slots for MP. And I was like, well, shit. I was like, I didn't know that you, I didn't know that you didn't have to join. Like, I thought it was like if I did not join immediately right then and there, that I wouldn't be able to come back, I guess. So I didn't know I could have been like, I don't want to do it. Like, I thought I had to. So I told my recruiter when they didn't have the MLS that I wanted, I was like, well, I didn't research anything else. Like, I literally got online, looked at about 5 MLSs and was like, yep, I want to be an MP. And then it was full. So I had a weird situation where my recruiter was actually, we went to high school together, and she was a senior when I was a freshman, and she actually was my cheerleading captain. So I knew her. So I told her, I was like, I'm getting my degree in communication studies. And I was like, can you just help me like pick a job? I was like, just pick anything that's like relatable to that. And my recruiter was like, yeah, girl, like I'll pick it out for you. And she basically told me that it didn't matter what MLS that I got because I was doing ROTC at the time. And when you do ROTC, you basically can pick a new career path, which I know how that works now. But at the time I was like, oh, okay, cool. Which obviously I'm an NCO and I did not finish ROTC. I tried that 2 times. I've done like 4 years of ROTC and it just wasn't for me. So, yeah, my recruiter picked my MOS, and I have spent the last 6 years of my life trying to reclass to 42 alpha. So pick your own MOS, like make sure you pick your MLS and do what you want to do, because I didn't do that, and it's taken me a lot of work to be able to reclass. I'm reclassing to 42 alpha. So anyways, yeah. Oh my God, Jay. No, I can't take it serious. I can't take the Space Force thing serious. But what did I do after that? After you pick your MOS, then at least you got me out of it. After you pick, yeah, Sarah, we met through ROTC. That's so weird to think of now. After you pick your MOS, though, everything you sign your contract. That's the other thing. You like sign your contract, and I did not read through mine. Like, I was just at that point, I was like, we've been here since 4:30 in the morning. I'm exhausted. I'm done. Like, I'm over this. And I didn't read through my contract, so I don't recommend not reading through the contract. If you were to like talk to my parents, they would literally tell you right now that if there's one thing they regret about me joining the military, they regret not having a lawyer read over my contract prior to me signing it, because I felt like I struggled to get college paid for, which was the whole purpose of me joining. I feel like there's a lot of things that I have been like gypped out on, just because there's a lot of good old boy system things, especially in the Guard. But I'm like, I have worked my butt off to get to where I am right now in the Guard, and I am very, very thankful for that. So yeah, I didn't read over my contract, so I don't recommend that you do that. I recommend you literally read it word for word. And if your recruiter tries to push you to hurry up, they can have a seat. And if they want to do that, you can also tell them, all right, well, I'll just go home and I'll sign this later. And I guarantee you their attitude about it will probably change. So after you do that, then they usually tell you what time the swearing in and stuff is, so that if you have family members that want to be there, they can like be there. So I called my parents and they drove up, and then you swear in. And if you're National Guard or like reserves, you have to swear in like once, but then you also do like another like swear in sort of situation. And I'm pretty sure it was because now I know this, but if you are a National Guard soldier, you serve like your governor because you're serving your state. But then you also have to swear an oath to the president of the United States, because like basically we serve both. So you do two different forms of swearing in. And then like also throughout your career in the Guard, when you re-enlist and whatnot, you have to, it says in the swear in, like you're like, I will follow the governor of the state of Kansas and the president of the United States of America, because it's two things. So National Guard is state funded, and active duty is federal funded as well, if you didn't know that. So after you swear in and everything, then you get to just, be a normal person. If you're National Guard, I am not sure how true this is, but here recently I was told by someone looking to join that there's like a 2-month wait, I guess, before you actually go to basic training. I don't know what that's about. I did not immediately go to basic training, but there were people at MEPS that went directly to basic training after, like, they swore in and they were like shipping out. Mine was like, I did RSP for 9 months. Like, bruh, a whole pregnancy. I did RSP. Like, that is crazy to think about right now. So I was in the National Guard for a year before I moved on and like went to basic and AIT, which is nuts. So if you do leave that day or whatever, then you fly out. And okay, so when you fly out, you leave out of MEPS, or I guess if I don't know how it works for other states, because for us, the airport is right up the street from MEPS. Like, they're right next to each other. So you go to MEPS, they literally give you a check, like a freaking handwritten check with money on it. And that money is to be used for your food when you're flying, and it's money that you don't get it back. So I can remember like trying to use all of my money, but they also give you a plane ticket. I had a layover, so I like remember just trying to like eat all these things. I was just so nervous. Like, my anxiety was through the freaking roof, and I was nervous. Like, every time we would stop, like, I knew I had a layover, but I was like, oh my God, we're gonna get off the plane and like drill sergeants are gonna be there. Like, I was so nervous. But you do fly out, and you kind of have like a group that you're with, because you're flying from MEPS. Like, you're not by yourself. So then when we landed, I went to Fort Jackson, and when we landed, I expected drill sergeants to be there. That didn't happen. We get there, and I had to ride on a bus to like Fort Jackson from the airport, which I swear it was like 2 hours long. It felt so long. And then you get there, and that's when it's like, holy shit, like, you're just expecting people to be like yelling at you and going crazy and stuff. And it just doesn't really happen like that from the beginning. Like, you can tell everybody's nervous though. But basically when you get off of the bus, that is when you start, man, what is it called? I can't even remember what it's called now. it has a name, but it's like where you start, like they make you dump out your bags and get rid of your contraband, and somebody's got to help me out with the name because I know that you got reception. Maybe that's what it's called. I can't remember. I can't remember the name. I just remember that shit took forever. I was awake for a good 48 hours straight. So I'm not even going to go into that part, but I hope that answers your question about like how did it work from MEPS to getting to basic combat training. I'm about to go back through these questions real quick. Oh yeah, they did a shakedown. Like when you got there, they just basically have you stand in columns and they make you dump all your crap out of your bag. But fortunately, they're kind of respectful about it. You don't dump it out on the ground immediately. They have rooms and they let each of you go into these individual rooms, and there's a trash can in there. And they're like, all right, you have 5 minutes to get rid of any contraband that you have. Because I had a Mountain Dew and I was like, oh God. But I guess like if you had anything that you just didn't want to be embarrassed about, you could throw it away. And then after that, like all your dignity goes out the window because you come out and they make you dump all your shit on the floor in front of everybody. But they're not mean to you at that point, but also everybody's super scared. So that's probably the reason why. Where the frick are the comments? Okay, there, I found them. All right, so I'm going back through the comments. Jay, you asked the step-by-step process, which I just answered. What material is on arithmetic reasoning? Isn't it crazy? I always want to say arithmetic reasoning. It's arithmetic. You've been studying the whole dang book. Okay, so somebody else asked me this the other day, and I answered it because I've taken the ASVAB test twice now. So I can't tell you what was on it the first time I took it, to be honest with you. But the second time that I took it, I got really upset because I felt like there were questions that could have been considered word knowledge on the arithmetic reasoning portion. My biggest thing that I can tell you is like that portion of it seemed so easy to me, and I was really disappointed when I got my test results back because I didn't feel like they thought that it was easy. Actually, let me bend down really quick because I think I have my line scores right here. And just show you. I do. Okay. Yeah, so I thought that portion was like super easy, and I freaking got a 45 on it. Like that's the lowest. That was my lowest score. And it was like freaking fractions. Like there was at least 3 questions that were fractions, and decimals. So like I struggled with that because I don't use fractions, and I definitely don't use decimals. Like I don't use any. I got a 45 on the arithmetic reasoning portion on the retake of my ASVAB test, Richard. So the main question here has been like, what is on that section? Honestly, the biggest thing that I can tell you for both of the math sections is to make sure that you know how to solve proportion problems. If you do not know how to do that, like, you're screwed. I don't even know how to explain it to you, but like that was the biggest thing we learned. Like just a little backtrack on this. If you guys haven't watched my ASVAB like study test, I just retook it and I got a 64, which still pisses. I still didn't get the score that I want, so I'm gonna be retaking it again just because. But yeah, I got so annoyed because I felt like that portion, like when I retook it, I was literally done with that section of the test in probably 5 minutes, and you get like a long time. Like it was like maybe 30 minutes, 25 You got a long time on it. That is the other thing that I can honestly tell you. So a lot of people worry about the time, like how much time you get on each question. And a lot of people do really bad on the like practice tests. So the practice tests are purposely a shorter amount of time to answer each question. Because then when you go to take the real test, you like feel like you're flying through it. Like when I went to take the real test, the practice test, I would run out of time every time. Like on the arithmetic reasoning portion on the practice test, I freaking like, I seriously would run out of time and would have like 15 questions that I didn't answer. So I would go through and literally just pick, like I would briefly like run over the question and then just pick an answer. I kept running out of time on every practice test. But then when we got to the real test, I answered the questions so fast. I finished the test like an hour before everybody else. So it's very crazy. And I don't know if it's like this for the real test, but for the retake, if I spent too much time on one question, the test knows if you spent too much time on one question, and basically your screen like goes black, and the teacher has to come over, or the person administering the test has to come over, and they restart the test for you. Like you start off where you ended, but basically it's so that the teacher can ask you like, are you doing okay? Like, is this too difficult for you? So that way, if you want to like bail out of it, you can. It was crazy. Like I had that happen once. I stared at a question for over the amount of time per each question, and the teacher had to come over and restart my test for me. Your answers are saved or whatever, but she knew I just had spent too much time on a question. So a lot of people don't know that the test does that too. I didn't know that it did that because my first test, it definitely did not do that. So yeah, answering the proportions, knowing how to answer proportions will help you a lot. I think you said, Jay, you said you knew how to answer. I can do proportions with ease, but the practice ASVAB test only had one question on it that was proportional. Where are you taking your practice? What, like, are you doing a website, or like who's administering the practice? Because when I did the ASVAB retake, my class was almost all of the questions were proportions, and then a lot of the questions are proportions, but like you have to know that it's a proportion. Like when they give you a word problem, like you have to know, okay, I can set that up into this proportion. Or if they give you a question, you have to know, like, usually for me, I knew like, okay, I could solve this question by doing either this process or this process. Like that's one thing with all of the math questions, there's always like more than one way to solve the problem. So like, I wish there was some way that this video chat was like, I could see you guys and you could see me. Like I would literally have you like write out a question on a whiteboard so that I could see what it says. But I suck at math, you guys. I have a master's degree, and I love writing. I love reading. I love anything that is not math. I took it at home. My recruiter came to my house, and the rest of the questions were conversions. So that is another thing, understanding conversions. My teacher did not tell us that we had to know conversions. She just like assumed that we knew. Like, I don't know conversions at all. Like how many feet are in a mile and all that stuff. Like make sure you know your freaking conversions, because I actually think I have mine written down. Let me see. I think I have it right here, to be honest. Like there was one that I was like, oh my God, I'm such a tart. And they have just a GT score refresher. And then they also have the overall ASVAB test, which mine was the overall ASVAB test. It's taught by Barton Community College online, which is a very military friendly school. but the home like base for it is right next to Fort Riley. And so their professors would come to the class and teach these classes at the military education center. So like if you have a CAT card, or you're in like, I don't know, if you have the ability to go to a military installation and take that class, I like highly recommend it. It was a month long. And I had to have like paperwork signed off on by my commander allowing me to do it. But it also counts as 3 college credit hours, because they like give you homework and stuff. But basically I relearned math, and I still was like, oh my God, I suck at math. But that's how I got like those 300 vocab words. I think you said, Richard said something about you must have gotten a really high word knowledge score. They gave me 300 words. Well, it's not 300 because everybody's pointed this out in the freaking video. So basically the teacher would just be like, we have 300 words, and any of these 300 could be potentially on the test. And I think there's 25 on the test, but it could be any of those 300s. It comes out to like 198 words or something that she actually gave us. So whatever. But I got, what did I get the highest? My highest line score was word knowledge. So you were correct about that. But I love reading and writing, and that's probably the reason why. But no, it wasn't ASVAB for dummies that they taught us. It was like a legitimate college algebra class, kind of, except they taught us stuff that I would have learned in elementary school. Let's see. Would you ever consider, Sarah asked, would you ever consider doing a question and answer with Bobby about ROTC for your channel, or why not you would choose ROTC? Yeah, I would, Sarah, I would freaking do that in a heartbeat. I don't know when Bobby like comes home. We should plan a girls night and just do a freaking video together. If you guys don't know, like Sarah, she is one of my really good friends. She's one of my best friends, and we met through ROTC at the University of Kansas, and neither of us finished it. She's a freaking pharmacist now, so she did real good, and we still have remained friends since this. So the YouTube channel mathematics helps a lot. Jay, you're giving really good advice about the math. Like, honestly, guys, look up math online. Like, my teacher in that class, she did tell me, she was like, you need to like go and watch, like you can watch how to do math on YouTube. So like, if you don't know how to do certain problems, like do it. And a lot of the math, like the practice test for the ASVAB online, if you Google them, like if you miss it, it'll tell you how to answer the questions. Yeah, Jay said the thing about finding like the area and the perimeter and percentage. Yeah, all of that stuff is true. You definitely want to make sure you know how to find the area of stuff. There's like multiple questions with that stuff on it. How did you study for arithmetic reasoning on the ASVAB? It's killing me. Jeffrey, I honestly, taking that class was that I looked at YouTube videos on, if I didn't know how to, like fractions. I remember I got on YouTube and just was like how to break down fractions, because for some reason I couldn't do that. I also couldn't remember how on decimals, I couldn't remember how to move decimals. Like I learned that when I was like 10 years old. I don't remember at all. Like, but those were like the biggest things. And then that one book that I talked about all the time, which unfortunately my dog chewed it up. But it's still, I could still use it if I needed to. But basically there's a book that is like note cards, and on the front, it has the question with the possible answers. You answer them, and then you flip the note card over, and it tells you exactly how to get the answer. So I like that book better than ASVAB for Dummies because ASVAB for Dummies is like too small of a font for me. Like I just don't, I didn't like it. Okay, I feel like I've made it. My recruiter is ignoring me, so I'm going with the Navy now. That really sucks, Star. Like, it really like disappoints me. The amount of people that like, not you guys, but the amount of people that come to me through social media and tell me like my recruiter's just being a jerk, or like my recruiter, I've asked them this and they won't give me the honest answer. Like, it's just kind of shocking to me, and I'm like, they must not be hurting very bad. Like if I was a recruiter, I would try to be as honest as possible. I mean, there's no reason not to be. So it baffles me when people like tell me that their recruiter won't even like talk to them on the phone and stuff, and I'm like, this is weird. Like this person's wanting to be a part of the 1% and you're like preventing them from doing that. That's crazy to me. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to answer the question. I'm scrolling through them. I took it at home. What did they teach you? Okay, yeah, I was going to ask you, how did you study for word knowledge? Yeah, Richard, the word knowledge, I mean, all of the words that I studied are in the down bar of my videos. I'm sure you've already seen them. I feel like you've commented on it, but all of the words that I studied are on there. But like I said, like I have my master's degree in human resources and my whole entire program was writing. I wrote a 30-page paper. Like I have my whole life, I've loved reading and writing things. I can remember being 5 years old, asking my dad to please teach me how to write my name. Like I wanted to read and write so bad. So I think I just naturally like understand stuff like that. So I mean, I think the way that I don't understand math is the way that a lot of people feel about like the word knowledge portion. Just those words, so that way you can at least narrow it down to studying those, because there were 10 of the words out of that list that she gave us, 10 of the words were actually on my retake test. So the probability of those words being on your test is, I mean, it's pretty likely. When is it okay to do more than making out with a guy? I don't know why you're asking me this. And I'm not going to answer that. Did you see anything addition and subtraction and long division? Long division for sure. What do you mean, Jeffrey, by addition and subtraction? Like just adding and subtracting stuff? The crazy thing is that you have to know how to add and subtract. You obviously have to know long division for sure. And I struggled with that. We spent 2 days in the class learning long division. I couldn't remember anything on how to do it. So that was another, I YouTubed that. But basically, yeah, on the money problems and stuff, like, yeah, the biggest thing is to make sure that you read the question like fully. Because for me, I would read the question and then I'd be like, oh, I know how to do this, and like do it really quick. Well, the question would actually have like 2 or 3 parts to it. So I would figure out the first part, no problem, but I would miss the answer to the question because it would have like additional stuff that it wanted you to do. Like they kind of try to trick you, which is annoying. And I have a feeling that that's like one of the main reasons that I struggled answering the math problems, because I was too worried about trying to hurry. So slow and steady on that for sure. Sarah said, I want to take a trip to go see Bobby sometime. You could come with me. Yeah, I'd be down, Sarah, for sure. Richard said, in January, I took my test. It had no geometry. It had fractions, factors, absolute values, slope. I definitely did not have slope on my retake. Tax and tip money problems. I definitely did not have slope at all on mine. I had geometry questions, Richard, for sure on the mathematics knowledge part. Like, for sure, because that's how they like did the word problems. And that's when they would get me with having like a two-part problem. Yeah, like money problems. The freaking multiple step problems, they have me messed up. But yeah, I hope I'm like doing a good job of answering your guys' questions. I hate them geometry word problems. Yeah, freaking it's so annoying. Word problems are annoying in themselves anyways. All I could think was like, I'm too good for this. Like that's all. And I'm like, okay, this is why you're not gonna do good in the math part, because in my head the whole time I was like, when do I ever use this? Like I don't even use this in the Army. Like I really don't. I don't use any of what was on that test in the Army, and it. Ugh. My main goal was I just wanted a 110 GT score, and your girl missed it by 7. I missed it by 7. I can retake the ASVAB in August, but I haven't studied since I took that class at all. And like I'm getting to reclass what I want to reclass to anyways. So the only reason I would need to retake it is to become an officer, which I'm still not. I'm on the fence about it. I believe I'll pass. It's just the practice test kind of discouraged me. Jeffrey, like real life, like no shit. I failed every single practice test that I did in that month-long class. And I kept running out of time. And then I kind of did something really bad. And like the night before we took the legitimate test, I went through and took practice tests until like 2 o'clock in the morning the night before. Like that was really going to change how well I did. And I just was super nervous. So like, honestly, if you're doing bad on the practice test, I don't feel like that is a good representation of how you'll do on the test. I'm sure you'll pass. What was your math knowledge line score? 56 was my math knowledge line score. Yeah, there was a lot of people, like, they tried to talk me out of retaking the ASVAB test, honestly, like, because I was doing bad on the practice test in that class. Whatever. I was like, nah, like, my commander had to sign off on this for me to be here. You're not about to sit here and tell me that I'm not taking the test. So I took it anyways. Sarah, I got your text message, but I can't check it because I did my live on my phone, my cell phone. Yeah. Yeah, I can't decide if I should retake mine or not because I haven't been studying at all. Like I'd have to start fresh and study, but I got things planned for my life. I'm taking a little vacation sometime soon, and I don't have time to study for the ASVAB, that's for sure. I'm trying to just relax and not worry about anything because all I do is worry, I feel like. Yeah, Sarah, you need to because you're smarter than me. I've been studying, but I haven't studied in like a week. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I kind of feel like you can overstudy for the ASVAB test too. Like, I kind of think that so I really freaked myself out when I stayed up till 2, like practicing, because I kept failing the online test. Like I just kept failing. I was getting like 30% on the online test, and I was like, I'm gonna fail tomorrow. And then I had to tell myself like, just go to sleep. Just go to sleep. So like I definitely feel like that was bad. Yeah, you're right, Sarah. Like Everybody does have different strengths. I can tell you what's line. I'm looking at my line scores. There was one portion that I also did pretty poorly in. Okay, so there's this one portion at the end, and I don't know what section it is. I guess I didn't do poorly in it, but I was struggling. This is the portion that the teacher had to come over and actually reset my test or whatever. But so it's gonna give you like parts. Like it'll be like a square and a half moon, or it'll be like a square, a half moon, another half moon, and another part, and these parts will all fit together to make a circle, like magically. And it will ask you like which circle has all of the parts listed above. Do you know how difficult that is? All right, thanks, Richard. Thanks for tuning in. But yeah, like it was freaking hard. Like that, it was so hard for me. Like my brain could not do it. One final question from me. Can you explain a ASVAB waiver? Jeffrey, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I have no idea anything. I didn't even know that there was. I mean, there's waivers on waivers, so I can only assume that there's probably a waiver. But I've never been told. The only thing I can think of is it might be so that way you can go get basic training done with. Actually, wait. I do know that there is an ASVAB waiver. But I would think 21 through 29 is considered a Cat 4 waiver, and it is only at certain times. Yeah, I don't know anything about that, but I do want to know, since you asked that question, like one of my really good friends is a recruiter, and if you guys think that that would be like helpful for her to do a live question and answer with me, let me know, because I can set that up. Like I'm dead serious. Like she would know the answers to questions like that. Like if I was a recruiter, I feel like it would make answering some of the questions real easy, because all I know is like my personal experience because of what I've experienced. So I don't even know anybody in the military who's had to have the waiver, to be honest. I don't. But I appreciate you asking the question. Like, please, if you guys like want to see, like if it helps for me to interview people, like for me to do the lives with other people, that's how I think I would do it. I don't think I would have a whole video committed to like interviewing someone, but I would definitely come on here and do live videos for you guys where you guys can ask questions to them, especially a freaking recruiter. Like, how cool would that be to talk to a recruiter who isn't your recruiter, so she has no reason to lie to you or to tell you things that you may not want to hear. Like somebody was telling me, I've had a whole conversations with girls that have told me that their recruiter told them like, oh, you can't do this job. Like you can't do that job, even though like that's the job that she like wanted to do. Like, no, I'm not cool with that. But anyways, okay, we've been on here for 54 minutes. And I appreciate each and every one of you. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off because I can't see how much battery I have left on my phone. But I appreciate you guys asking questions. I hope that I helped you. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And I'm going to try to get a video up probably tomorrow. No, Tuesday morning early. So I will talk to you guys later. If you have any questions, you guys know Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, message me, and I will do my best to respond. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.